Origin Chance, one reaction. This is History Summarized, the Punic War, with assault and everything. Yeah, I reacted to his series on that, and that was just awesome, the montage in the end. So yeah. As it happens, the whole salting the earth thing was a much later addition to the story and probably doesn't have all that much of a basis. In fact, come on, really? So take that part of the story with a grain of salt, for the love. Really? That was the more badass and salty part of the Roman Empire that I thought, like, look at that, they even screwed the ground as well by salting it, but apparently that probably is not real, huh? This is my channel, Sarcastic Production. This is a great channel. I love reacting to the videos from this channel, history videos and mythological videos. So if you missed any of my reaction to this channel, check out the cards as a playlist for it. Sarcastic Production reaction. Check out the playlist too, like history, CGP Great, Here's Zoo, Internet Historian, Kazgazat in a nutshell. And yeah, that's always fun.
The three Punic Wars make up possibly one of the most intense chapters in Roman history, so if you want the full story, please check out this video on the Roman Republic. The short of it is that over the centuries, the tiny town of Rome grew and grew until it conquered the entire Italian peninsula. Basically, they leveled up, and Carthage was the next level. The first war can be roughly attributed to a miscommunication with some Sicilian pirates. While Carthage and Rome may have been destined to fight each other at some point or another, they ultimately came to blows on account of both being called into Sicily to settle a fight between the city of Syracuse and some rowdy pirates. Rome and Carthage kind of just tripped face first into war and spent most of the 23-year-long war not actually fighting each other. The issue was Carthage had been a long-standing naval power in the Mediterranean, but Rome had no navy to speak of. So Rome really needed a navy, and quick.
Yeah, Rome, with all its power, obviously military prowess, at the time didn't have any navy or something like that. Well, Carthage did. So Carthage probably thought of Romans like, look at those stupid idiots, doesn't even know how to build a boat. People are going to remember the Carthage Empire. Yeah, I think Romans are coming back really hard. I mean, Romans basically found some Carthage ships, if I remember correctly, and just build a navy based on that. I mean, how fast of a study they are. I mean, knowing the Bob the Builder, that is Julius Caesar, was just building bridges and I guess fortification left and right, it's just surprising to see how Roman people adapted.
This is another of many instances of Rome adapting to situations really well. Say what you will about Rome, they were immensely clever and had a great habit of taking good ideas, methods, technologies, and techniques from other cultures and using them to great effect. In this case, the Romans found a few beached and sunk Carthaginian triremes and quinquiremes and proceeded to reverse engineer an entire fleet of ships. Just casually, as you do.
Imagine Carthage ship at the distance seeing, at the beach, one of their ships is wrecked and Romans are going like, and Carthage people like, we are fucked.
Rome's first aquatic outings weren't all that fruitful, but at battles like Cape Ecnomus, which is arguably one of the biggest naval battles in history, Rome pulled out wins. Ultimately, Rome won the war, claiming Sicily for itself and forcing heavy reparations on Carthage. They also decided to take Corsica and Sardinia because, screw you Carthage, these are mine now. In the decades following, the Carthaginians, led by the general Hamilcar Barca, colonized the seaside coast of Spain, largely for the purposes of mining silver to pay their Roman reparations. Little did Rome know, Hamilcar, his son Hannibal, and the other Carthaginians in Spain were furious over losing Sicily, Corsica, and Sardinia, and had been casually scheming to completely destroy Rome for almost 2 whole decades. In 219 BC, Hannibal sacked the Roman allied Saguntum in Spain, and Rome, defensively of course, declared war. Hannibal, the madman, proceeded to rather famously Leroy Jenkins his way across the goddamn Alps with over 40,000 soldiers and 37 elephants. Elephants! Yeah. And while elephants aren't particularly...
They're like, everybody at the Carthage is like, I guess we are going to attack Rome again. Should we take out the ship? And it was like, fuck that. Give me my army and my 37, elephants, and I'm gonna go all the way around and, go to Rome by land. Everybody's looking at each other. You're joking, right? Yeah, I don't think so. He took, all those elephants from the Alps, from the mountains. Lots of those elephants fell down. That is just effed up, man.
Particularly scary to us. If you're an ancient Roman who's never seen an elephant before, that thing is a 4-legged giant with 2 spears and a snake coming out of its face. Bottom line, they're monsters. The Romans thought they were monsters. Granted, most of Hannibal's
African elephants, by the way, the bigger ones. So basically, you're a Roman, you've seen everything, alright, fine. You never seen, any elephant, and suddenly see an army approaching with the elephants, massive things walking. I mean, same thing happened to the Alexander the Great, right? When he reached India, I guess when the war elephants suddenly attacked, they were surprised. So same thing would happen here. Like Romans are suddenly like, what the fuck is that?
died while crossing the Alps, perhaps unsurprisingly, but it doesn't take a lot of elephants to have a scary amount of elephant on the battlefield.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't convey
One
how
is too many.
viscerally terrifying the mere mention of Hannibal's name would have been to a Roman. Now, to change the topic away from
Seriously,
the
that's the
Carthaginian-
thing, right? Hannibal would have been, this, devil type of guy for them, because it's all about psychological warfare. Elephants, they are like, this, demonic type of things that is coming. Hannibal, the guy is evil and all that shit at the time.
Boogeyman. Since we're talking about Roman military history here, I'll refer you to my video on classical warfare for some context. It mostly talks about hoplite warfare, but I cover the classic Roman Republican army in the later portion. Although, as it turns out, the Roman army that conquered the Italian peninsula was basically a hoplite army, so honestly the whole video is probably relevant to Roman history. Anyway, after arriving in Italy, Hannibal demonstrated his tactical brilliance by immediately winning 2 battles in northern Italy through guerrilla and ambush tactics. Hannibal and his armies would proceed to stay in Italy, effectively behind enemy lines with next to no means of supply or reinforcement, for 16 years. The Carthaginians went up and down the
16
peninsula,
years.
setting fire to farms left and right, hoping above all else for Rome to simply surrender. 2 years into the campaign, Hannibal said, "Alright, screw this, I'm gonna destroy the entire Roman army," and proceeded to make plans for his next battle, at the Roman supply depot at Cannae in southern Italy. At the battle, the Carthaginians advanced in a U-shape, with 40,000 infantry forming the front line and 10,000 cavalry on the wings. The Romans, however, had almost twice as big an army, so they felt pretty good about their chances. The armies met, and as the fighting progressed, the center of the Carthaginian line fell back, and the Romans pushed forward, hoping to break the retreating line. Except, at that moment when they all rushed in, the Carthaginians' African infantry and famed Numidian cavalry advanced on the flanks and effectively enveloped the whole Roman army. From there, it was a bloodbath. Estimates are all over the place, but the gist is that most of the 80,000 strong Roman army was killed outright and the rest were imprisoned. The slaughter went on until nightfall and—
Right, I mean, how many historical events can say that somebody kicked Roman's ass, right? I mean, obviously this is not the time of Julius Caesar and post that. After Julius Caesar with the Roman Empire, this is Roman Republic time, I guess. After Roman Empire with Julius Caesar, then Augustus, and it was a different story after that. Roman military power was ridiculously OP. But seriously, Hannibal basically overpowering Roman army, even with the odds like that, that's just something.
And in one version of the story I've heard, the Carthaginians only started taking prisoners because their arms got tired from all the killing. It was the single greatest defeat that Rome ever suffered in its history. And Hannibal hoped that a shattered and dismayed Rome, having lost 16 legions and the entire south of Italy, would surrender at once. Rome's response was simply, "See you next year," and it spent the entire winter raising more armies to go out the following summer. For the next several years, the
Romans like, I'm planning to have a 1,000-year, long empire here. You think I'm gonna surrender now? What are you, high?
Army pursued the strategy of just bother him and shadowed Hannibal around the Italian countryside. He was still being annoying, but he wasn't a direct threat to the city of Rome, so good enough for now. But jumping back, can we take a second to appreciate the sheer quintessential Roman badassery it takes to hear that you lost at least 50,000 soldiers and then turn around and tell the guy who killed them to shove it and wait for round 2? Because holy crap, that takes some serious coleones. Serious and massively suicidal coleones. And speaking of, in 211 the young Publius Cornelius Scipio took up a generalship for the Spanish campaign, which was widely considered to be a suicide mission. To the surprise of basically everyone, he spent the next 5 years successfully de-Carthagifying Spain to great effect. Following his campaign, he hatched a brilliant plan to take the fight back to Carthage. The Senate, thinking this was another suicide mission, told him he could do it, but they wouldn't finance his armies. So Scipio raised a couple legions in Italy and Sicily and hopped over to North Africa. Now, while Hannibal is absolutely a brilliant general in that he did impossibly crazy stuff like crossing the Alps, campaigning in Italy for 16 years, and wiping out an entire Roman army, Scipio's brilliance came from his quintessentially Roman ability to adopt and adapt. The Romans, above all else, knew a good idea when they saw one, and they almost never made the same mistake twice. Scipio studied Cannae, and he knew what he had to do to defeat Carthage. Since the Numidian cavalry was critical to the Carthaginian army, Scipio played into a Numidian civil war to get some of their cavalry for himself. In doing so, he had massively weakened Carthage on their own soil, and had nearly orchestrated their surrender when, oh snap, Hannibal's back! And on that day, history nerds from all around the world and across time busted out the popcorn because this is gonna be good. The night before the impending Battle of Zama, Hannibal and Scipio actually, supposedly, had a meeting. It's detailed in Livy's History of Rome, Book 30, Chapters 30 and 31. There's a link in the description. It takes 5 minutes. Just read it, okay? For me. Read it. It's incredible. First, they're simply in awe of each other. Then, Hannibal waxes philosophical about fortune, gives Scipio life advice, and asks for peace. Scipio responded, well, I was going to make peace, but then you brought an army here. I can't just leave now. Look, Hannibal, I respect you. I really do, and you're leaving me no choice here, man. I've just gotta kick your ass, dude. I'm sorry, there's no other way. I have to kick your ass. And on the following day, some asses...
I will also he has to redeem Romans here because, Hannibal literally went to their place and kicked every single Roman army. So, I mean, Scipio's like, I have to kick your ass right now to redeem ourselves, I guess.
Were certainly kicked. At the Battle of Zama, Scipio's Numidian cavalry put the Carthaginian cavalry to flight, and fighting between the infantry lines was actually very close until the Roman cavalry returned from behind the Carthaginian line to ultimately win the day. It was a hard-fought and super tense battle, but with that, the Second Punic War was won. Half a century and a lot of Cato the Elder ending all of his speeches with Carthago delenda est later, Rome returns to raze Carthage to the ground. To rub more salt in the wound, the Romans also literally rubbed salt in the earth to make sure the Carthaginians would never rise again. Wow. Okay, so there's regular bitter, there's Taylor Swift writes a song about you bitter, and then there's Rome hates you so much they wipe you off the face of the earth forever bitter.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is Rome does not screw around, so don't screw with Rome.
Yeah, but I think Romans basically just thought at that time okay, Carthage is the only real enemy since Hannibal literally came to our place and kicked our ass. I mean, that's way too strong. We can't let that go. And we can't, leave the chance for them to rise up again. So fuck it, I'm gonna just put salt to the ground so that there is never a Carthage empire again. I mean, if it happened, salting the earth, that was just after, right? Taking all that salt and just blind, that's just... I mean, who thinks like that? Only Romans, right?
And that's the Punic Wars. If you'd like to see where the rest of the story goes, give this video a click in the description and hop on back to the Roman Republic. And remember, Carthago delenda est.
Yeah. That was just ridiculous. Hannibal was a madman, right? Rode all the way to there had an infection, so he had to cut off his own eye. I mean, that was just effed up all around. But yeah. Alright people, that was History Summarize. The Punic Wars by the channel Sarcastic production. If you like my reaction to food, like, subscribe. Check out the Rick Sunday. There's a link in the description. Check out the cards over play. Check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.